Assalamu alaikum students. I am Amna Manzoor, your chemistry teacher, and we are going to continue the topic of organic chemistry today. Before moving towards the topic, let me just make a few points clear to you. I have received some kind of queries about the topic of isomerism. Some students are not clear about the topic. The main thing they are confused of is how is isomerism related to the physical and how it is related to the chemical properties. Okay, now the point we need to consider over here is, I told you that isomerism is a phenomena in which we have same molecular formula, but the structural formula changes. The point you guys need to consider, you need to focus is that by changing the structural formula, we have two kind of situations. Number one is, might possible we have same functional group. Same functional group means the chain, the length of the carbon means the backbone might have been changed, but the functional group is same. As I told you, the case of hydrocarbons, simple hydrocarbons called alkanes. The functional group in alkanes is carbon-carbon single bond. And the other bond that is formed is the carbon to hydrogen bond. But the functional group is carbon-carbon single bond. This is not going to change at all. So if we are going to have the isomerism in alkanes, functional group is same, and functional group is basically a thing which is responsible for the chemical properties. So whenever we have a case in which the functional group is same, in that case chemical properties do not change much. I mentioned the word do not change much, but when the functional group have been altered, in that situation, we definitely have different physical and different chemical properties. So in short, physical properties are always going to change, but the chemical properties will be changed in a situation when we have changed functional group. But if functional group is not changed, it is same, just the number of carbon atoms on either side of the functional group or the chain length and the branches, these things are changing. So it is not sure that either the chemical properties will change or not. Let's say I mentioned functional group alcohol. Now let us study another functional group, ROR. ROH was a functionality called alcohol, and ROR is basically a kind of compound called ether. Now let's say we have these two kind of compounds. If we have, let's say butanol, 1, 2, 3, 4. Butanol means 4 carbon. 4 carbon. Anol means alcohol. So this name represents 4 carbon alcohol. Let's say this one is the alcohol. 1, 2. 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, and 3 hydrogens for here. This is called butanol. Just calculate the atoms in it. 4 carbons, 2, 4, 6, 9, and 1. 10 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Am I clear? Now, the second condition is, we might have a scene called CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. Now calculate 3, 6, 8, 10. 10 hydrogens, 4 carbon and 1 oxygen. So both the molecular formulas are same, but one was butanol and the other one is ether. There is a hell lot of difference between both of these compounds. Alcohols are the compounds which contains hydrogen bonding because of the presence of this electronegative atom. They do have different kind of bonding nature. They are very reactive, not more than water, but they are quite reactive. But this one, ethers are the least reactive. They do not react much. If we have to make them react, we have to provide them some severe kind of conditions. So both of these situations have same molecular formula, but their structural formula changes along with the change in their functional group. So whenever the functional group changes, the chemical properties will definitely be changed. I hope I am clear at that point. Now let's just move towards the topic that we have to study today. We were studying alkanes. Now consider first member of the series, that is CH4, and it is called as methane. I told you that carbon is going to form 4 bonds. So whenever we are writing on the paper or on the board, we have 2D surface area. We mentioned it like this. We simply say this is methane. But the reality is carbon is not going to have this kind of linear structure. It is basically tetrahedron, this structure. All the hydrogen atoms are present in this situation. What this situation represents, this is above the plane, this is on the side, this one is on the front side, this one is on the back side. For example, if I am going to represent carbon on the one position, second behind the plane, one this side and one this side, this kind of tetrahedron structure is basically maintained by the atoms of methane compound, and they are going to have symmetrical shape which is maintained in this compound. And most of the carbon atoms, when carbon has this kind of configuration, they are going to maintain their structure to tetrahedron. So this is basically the structure of methane compound. Now moving towards the isomerism, we have studied the phenomena. Isomerism is basically a phenomena in which the structure of the compound changes, molecular formula remains the same. And we have two kind of conditions. If the functional group changes, the chemical properties and the physical properties both change. But if the functional group remains the same, physical properties will definitely change, but chemical properties are on the scene के वो change होंगे या नहीं. Okay, now the next point is an abbreviation COWS. Now what the COWS is, this is basically a kind of abbreviation used to represent the physical properties of the compound. Means we have to consider, we have to identify the compound, or we have to study the physical properties. So we have to just mention or identify these 4 properties. C for color of the compound, O for odor, what kind of smell do it have, W for weight, or you can say mass. It can be mass in the AMU, atomic mass unit, and mass in the kilograms as well, depending upon the condition or the kind of substance do you have in your consideration. And as for solubility, if we know these 4 conditions, if we know these 4 characteristics, we can study the compound more clearly and more in detail, because these are the 4 basic physical properties. For example, if we are studying the methane compound, for methane, it is a colorless gas. You all know the first 4 members of the series: methane, ethane, propane, butane. All first 4 members are gaseous in form. So colorless gas. For odor, it is odorless. It do not have any kind of smell. But the basic smell that we feel while methane is provided in our houses for burning purpose is basically because of some kind of compound that is purposefully added, because these compounds are highly flammable. they can caught fire. Now for the weight, we have to calculate the weight or the mass. So if we are going to calculate the mass, 12 for the carbon plus 4 for hydrogen, so we have its mass as 16. For solubility, we have to check out the solubility in two things. First of all, majorly in water, and secondly in other solvents. So if we are talking about methane, as we all know, methane is basically a hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon is basically an organic compound, and organic compounds do not contain any kind of hydrogen bonding in most cases, unless they do have oxygen or sulfur atom in it. So if we are talking about the solubility, so they are not soluble in water in higher compounds, but for lower compounds, they are slightly soluble. Means if we are talking about the octane, nonane, decane, means the higher compounds, they are completely not soluble in water. But for the lower compounds like methane, ethane, propane, butane, they will be soluble, but to very low extent, in very minute quantity. But in some other organic solvent, like you can say carbon tetrachloride, in chloroform, in ether, they will be highly soluble and can be dissolved in them very easily. So if we are going to study the physical properties, we can easily say physical properties can be identified. The characteristics of the compound can be studied on the basis of these four compounds: color, odor, weight, and solubility as well. Clear? Now, the next topic we have to study is chemical properties. Okay, now before starting the chemical properties, just consider one thing, that how are they going to react and why are they going to react. Whenever you are talking about the physical properties, it is depending upon the physical condition. Either it is a solid, liquid, or gas. Either it has what kind of bonding it have. For example, if we are talking about the alkanes, they have very weak kind of forces uh, that can be break down easily. So they do not have much higher melting and boiling points as compared to the other hydrocarbons. If we are talking about inorganic, they do have higher, but comparative to the other organic compounds, their melting and boiling points are very, very low. But the chemical properties are basically the chemical reactions. Chemical properties means how they are going to react chemically whenever we are going to provide them with some kind of chemical, some kind of reaction conditions. So for this condition, for this situation, we need to understand what is the purpose of reaction in that case. Let's say we are talking about a simple or a general formula, alkane, RH. I told you that they have a functional group called carbon to carbon sigma bond. I am going to write over here the simplest hydrocarbon, simplest alkane, methane. Okay, these are the chemical properties of alkanes. If you are clear with this phenomena that I am going to explain right now, you will be able to write the reactions by your own. Now, if we have a methane compound, now just consider the type of bonding this compound have. One bond of carbon with hydrogen. This is a single bond. A single bond here, a single one here, and a single here. Means it has 4 single bonds. Now, the second situation. We have studied the carbon can form double or triple, but we do not have any kind of double bond, any kind of triple bond in the alkanes. Means no unsaturation is there. So we can use the word saturated. Alkanes are always saturated. They do not have any kind of unsaturation. Now, If they are saturated, what does it mean? Saturated, for you can use a term to remember, you can use a term to memorize, that they are full. For saturation, you can use a term, they are full. Like we can say, if a person is eating, if he has filled his stomach to the level, totally full, like you are saying saturated solution, super saturated solution. So saturated, in a sense, the bonding of carbon is complete. It has to form 4 bonds, and all these 4 orbitals have been occupied completely. Now what the next situation is, that if we are going to react this, how can we react when it do not have any kind of vacancy for the reaction? It means, how does this carbon is going to react when it do not have any kind of need for the reaction? If you have studied the very initial conditions of the chemistry, you might possibly be aware of the concept of octet. It is called octet rule, in which we have been studied that how can we make the chemicals to react, why the chemicals, or you can say why the elements react. Elements basically react because they need to fulfill their electronic shells, right? If they need to complete their shells, outermost electronic shells, so that they can be stabilized, means they were going to react because they were going to gain the stability. The problem is, alkanes are already stable. They have gained their stability. Like we can say, if we were talking about the carbon, it was of the 4th group, right? If it was of the 4th group, it needs to complete the octet. 4th group means it has 4 electrons in its outermost electronic shell. If one of its bond is electron is here, 1 here, 3 and 4. 4 its electrons were there. 1 of hydrogen, 1 hydrogen from here, 1 electron of hydrogen here, 1 here. So now it has completed its octet. 8 electrons are there for in its electronic shell by the mutual sharing, by the covalent bonding. So why do it need to form any kind of bonds further? So it will not react. And it is not only the condition in the methane, all the alkanes have the same situation because they are all saturated. Means they are inert. They do not react. They do not react. Now the situation is, what if we need to make them react? So we have to make them react. In that situation, we need to make them feel vacant for the reaction. Means we have to remove any kind of atom from the surrounding of the carbon, so that there will be a vacant space, and at that point we will be able to make them react further. It means if they are going to react, they will be reacting by the substitution reactions. Now I'm going to just tell you 2 things about reaction over here. We have 2 kind of reactions: addition reactions substitution reactions. Now what are these reactions? These are kind of reactions, chemical reactions. Addition reactions are basically the reactions in which the coming reagent, either it is a nucleophile, electrophile, whatsoever the case is, whoever the reactant that is coming towards the compound is directly added into the compound. What are the situations that will be studied in detail when we are going to study alkenes after this topic? Alkenes, hopefully tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So addition reaction are the kind of reaction do not have any vacant space. All the electronic orbitals are filled, all the orbitals are occupied, fully saturated compound, no vacant space. So in that situation, the coming species first creates a space for itself and then reacts. For example, if we are talking about this compound, the coming, let's say X is coming, X first will attack to either to this or to this. It depends upon what kind of condition you have provided along with the X radical. Now, if it reacts with this one, it will remove it from here. Now, the other compound that is going to react will come and binds with the hydrogen. That is the situation. So this is called substitution reactions, means one of the atom from the compound is replaced by the other atom, and these kind of reactions are called substitution reactions. So if we are talking about the chemical properties of alkanes, first of all, we must know that alkanes are the compounds that are saturated. They have their carbons to the filled octet. Their octet is complete. They are stable. They have filled electronic shells. They do not have any kind of vacancy in them. So if they are going to react, it means there is no space for addition reactions. They can only react by the substitution reaction, and that substitution reaction is a kind of reaction in which carbon atom is the hydrocarbon is attacked by the coming species, and a space is created in the compound, and then the species is going to add on it. For example, let's say if we are talking about the topic of chlorination. In the chemical properties, we have to study, I think, 2 to 3 kind of reactions: combustion and chlorination. Yes, we have to study combustion and chlorination. Okay, if we are going to talk about chlorination, chlorination is means addition of chlorine. Chlorine is an element of group number 7. It means the members of group number 7 can be added to the alkanes by substitution reactions. Now, if we have, let's say, move towards the reaction by taking methane simply. No complex reactions right now. Alkane plus, let's say we have a chlorine molecule as this one, chlorine gas. We are going to provide it with sunlight. Now, when the sunlight is provided, this chlorine is basically transformed into a free radical. How? This chlorine is converted into this form. These two free radicals. Now, what this chlorine is basically going to do, these two, I can write it as this one, right? Now, these two chlorine, one of the chlorine is going to attack this one. So, CH3, vacant space plus HCl. This bond has been formed. Now, this chlorine is going to attach with this, and the compound formed will be CH3Cl. CH3Cl is basically called chloromethane, and this is formed from methane. This is a chlorination reaction. If we do not supply any kind of inhibitors, or we do not stop, in fact, basically this reaction, chlorination, is basically provided in the presence of sunlight, and this is so fast, so vigorous that it is uncontrollable. It is impossible to stop it in the normal conditions. So if when we have provided, now this chloromethane is basically a starting, this reaction has been generated. Now automatically chlorine molecules will be reacting with the sunlight and will be producing free radicals, and free radicals will be reacting again and again with the molecule until and unless we do not have any hydrogen left over here. For example, if I mention just a single reaction, the whole reaction in a single step, let's say we have CH4 plus this situation providing the sunlight. In the first step, one of the hydrogen will be replaced by chlorine plus one HCl will be produced. Again, the same conditions. Now 2 chlorine and 2 hydrogens will be there, means one more hydrogen has been replaced, plus again an HCl is produced. In the next step, we will be having one more hydrogen replaced and 3Cl molecules. This is called carbon tetrachloride. Now, in the fourth step, we will be having carbon and Cl4 plus last HCl molecule for this methane. Now, this is the final product called carbon tetrachloride. Now, here the reaction is going to stop if all the other methane molecules have been occupied by these chlorine molecules. Only at that point, the reaction will be stopped. So this is basically the reaction called chlorination, in which we see how the alkanes react by the substitution reactions. First of all, the coming species makes the space for itself by removing one of the atom, either hydrogen or any other atom from the surrounding, and then by that condition it creates a space for itself and then add to the compound and further reaction takes place. This process is basically called chlorination. Now the other kind of chemical reaction we have in our syllabus is the combustion. That is a simple phenomena. If we are talking about the combustion, we basically have two conditions. Combustion means burning. And I told you that all the hydrocarbons, mean all the alkanes, are highly flammable. They can caught fire, they can burn very easily. So if we are talking about the combustion, we have two conditions. First one is incomplete burning, and the other one is complete burning, right? Now, what the both conditions are? If we are going to burn a compound, we all know we need to provide it with the air. And from the air, oxygen gas is taken and the reaction moves towards the forward side, right side. Now, if we are talking about the incomplete burning, it means we have to provide the limited supply of air in it. If we are talking about complete burning, we have given the plenty of oxygen, right? So incomplete burning is a kind of reaction in which compound is reacted with incomplete supply of oxygen. And at that point, when the supply of oxygen is limited, it reacts and forms carbon monoxide plus oxygen. And in some conditions, it can also form elemental carbon in its solid form. Now, it may be in the form of soot, means black kind of smoke. Now, at that point, what happens? This kind of reaction in which incomplete combustion takes place is very dangerous, because carbon monoxide is basically a very dangerous gas. It is toxic in nature and is very dangerous if some living organism inhales that gas, right? Sorry, water will be formed over here. Now, carbon monoxide plus water plus carbon. But if we are going to make the complete burning, it means plenty of oxygen is there and it will be react to form carbon dioxide plus water. And in both of these conditions, there will be production of heat. But in incomplete burning, the amount of heat produced is very less as compared to the amount of heat produced in the complete burning. Now, compare both of these reactions. The hydrocarbons are going to burn in any way, but if it depends how they are going to react on the condition that what kind of situation we are providing them. If we have given them the plenty of air, means complete burning, then the hydrocarbons will burn and form a compound called carbon dioxide and then ultimately with water. But if we are going to form we are going for the reaction called incomplete burning. At that point, the methane compound or any other compound that is flammable of the hydrocarbon series called alkanes, at the situation it will form carbon monoxide, which is a toxic gas, along with the formation of water molecules plus with the emission of heat means heat production. Both of these reactions are exothermic. Depending upon the condition, it will be decided that how much amount of heat has been produced by the burning of one methane molecule. So the topic have been cleared over here. Now, just have a brief summary of the topic we have studied. First of all, we just made clear what about the chemical properties and physical properties of the isomerism. If the functional group changes, the chemical properties are definitely going to change. Otherwise, there are some kind of ambiguity. Either the chemical properties will change much or not, and that is not in all the cases. 90% cases, isomerism is a phenomena in which properties change when the functional group changes. Now, the second point was physical properties, and physical properties are basically determined by the abbreviation COWS: color, odor, weight, and solubility. Color of the compound, weight, molecular weight, and other weight of the compound, solubility of the compound in water and as well as in other solvents, especially in the organic solvents. Now, we were talking about the structure of methane, that was tetrahedron, and we were studying about the situation of methane in this abbreviation. It was colorless, odorless, and if we were talking about the weight, it was lighter than air, so it can be received or collected by the upward movement. And solubility, it was less soluble in water but highly soluble in other organic solvents. And then we were talking about the chemical properties. While talking about the chemical properties, we have studied the topic of inertness of the alkanes, and that was basically because of the saturation of them. It means they are highly saturated, they have all the bonds filled, they have all the orbitals occupied by the sigma bonding, and all these bonds are present in the nuclear axis, so they are highly strong, right? Pi bonds are the kind of bonds that are relatively weaker, but the sigma bonds are very strong in nature. So they were highly inert and do not react much. In that case, we studied that they cannot form addition reaction, but they only form substitution reactions, right? So substitution reaction, in substitution reaction, we studied two kind of reaction. Number one was combustion and number two chlorination. In both of these, in combustion, we have incomplete burning and complete burning. And in chlorination, we studied how the members of group 7 reacts with the hydrocarbon alkanes. That's all for today. Thank you.